I remember the first time it happened. The silence between us felt heavier than words. She stood by the window in one of Dad's old shirts, her outline framed by the pale light drifting through the curtains. When our eyes met, she didn't move. Her voice trembled softly. "Go to bed, Josh, it's late." But something in her expression said more than the words ever could. I never sought any of this. When Dad married Nicole, I was 19, still trying to adjust to the idea that life had shifted without warning. He met her on a business trip in Colorado, and within 3 months, she was already living in our house, replacing old family photos with brighter, newer ones. It was as if she was carefully painting over every trace of my mother. Nicole was impossible to ignore, mid-30s.com, and striking in her quiet composure. She didn't crave attention, yet somehow, she always drew it. The way she spoke, the way she carried herself, graceful but distant, made it difficult to look away. At first I told myself it didn't matter. She was Dad's wife, not my concern. But when Dad left for a weekend trip, it was just the two of us in the house. She offered to make dinner, and I agreed. The kitchen felt smaller that night. She talked about simple things, college, work, plans for the garden, and though the words were ordinary, the pauses between them weren't. When I looked up, she was already watching me. Later, in the living room, she sat at one end of the couch, her posture relaxed, her eyes distant. Then she asked quietly, "Do you hate me for marrying your dad?" The question caught me off guard. "No," I said after a pause. "You barely look at me," she murmured. "Sometimes it feels like I don't exist. I just don't know where I fit anymore," I admitted. She fell silent for a moment before whispering, "I don't know where I fit either." That was the first time I saw her not as my father's wife, but as a person, fragile, uncertain, and lonelier than she pretended to be. The days that followed felt heavy. She carried herself like nothing had changed, but something in the air had shifted. Every glance lingered a little too long. Every conversation carried something unspoken. One morning, she made pancakes, humming softly to herself. When I thanked her, she smiled faintly. "Don't thank me," she said. "We're family." I couldn't tell whether it was a reminder or a warning. When Dad returned, everything seemed normal. Nicole laughed at his stories, touched his arm, and smiled as though the world was perfectly in place. But when I passed by, she quietly asked, "Did you sleep well this weekend?" The question hung in the air, simple yet strange. Weeks turned into months. I kept my distance, staying out late, or busying myself with work. But occasionally, she'd leave small notes on the kitchen counter. "Eat something. Don't forget your charger." Her handwriting always ended with a tiny smiley face. Then came the storm. The power went out, thunder rolling through the house. I was in the garage fixing my bike when Nicole appeared, soaked and shivering from the rain. "I locked myself out," she said with a small laugh. I gave her a towel and turned away as she wrapped it around herself. Her eyes looked tired, not from the storm, but from something deeper. "I miss being seen," she said quietly. "Not admired, not judged, just seen." I looked at her then, really looked, and understood what she meant. She wasn't searching for affection. She was searching for recognition, for proof that she still mattered. "People see you, Nicole," I said gently. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Not the way that counts." After that night, we spoke less. The distance between us grew again, cautious, deliberate, necessary. She acted as though nothing had ever shifted between us. Months later, I came home early one afternoon and found her in the laundry room, quietly crying. "He forgot our anniversary," she said, her voice cracking into a laugh. "He rescheduled it like it was a meeting." I didn't know what to say. I just stood there, and she eventually wiped her eyes and smiled. "You make this place feel less empty sometimes," she whispered. Time passed. Dad grew distant from her, and I left for college soon after. The night before I left, Nicole knocked on my door. "I shouldn't be here," she said softly. "I know," I replied. She gave a faint, tired smile. "Take care of yourself, Josh." That was the last time we really spoke. Sometimes love isn't loud or clear. Sometimes it's hidden beneath silence, guilt, and things left unsaid. It doesn't always end in confession or happiness. Sometimes it just lingers, hauntingly gentle, between two people who both know it can never be. She said it was wrong. Maybe it was, but it still changed us both.